I never thought a single message could destroy everything I believed in. She canceled our trip. Just like that. No warning, no apology, just silence. But it wasn't the trip itself that broke me. It was the reason she gave. For him. Those two words hit me like a slap to the face. Her ex. The man she swore she never wanted to see again. The man I thought was a closed chapter in our story. I remember staring at my phone in disbelief, the screen blurring as my heart pounded so hard it felt like it might burst. She didn't just cancel the trip, she chose him over me. I wanted to scream, to call her out, to demand answers. But all I could do was stand there in the empty apartment, the walls closing in, suffocating me with every beat of my racing heart. The plans we made, the dreams we painted for that trip gone, shattered. Just like the trust I thought we had. But what she doesn't know is I didn't cancel. I didn't stay. I bought a one-way ticket. Alone. As I sit here, waiting at the airport, the cold metal of my suitcase handle grounding me, I feel something shift inside. I'm not the same man she thought she could control. The one who would beg for forgiveness, or fight to fix a love that's already died. No. This time, I'm leaving not just the trip, but her world. The plane will take me far away from her lies, from the betrayal that still tastes bitter in my mouth. I don't know what I'll find on the other side, but I do know one thing. I won't be coming back. Because sometimes, the people we love the most are the ones who break us beyond repair. And tonight I'm done being broken. For 5 years I thought our marriage was perfect. Not the fairy tale kind with constant laughter and zero fights, but the kind where two people built a life together, day by day, imperfect but real. That was us. Her name is Sarah. She wasn't just my wife, she was my best friend, my confidant, the woman I believed would be by my side no matter what. We had mornings filled with coffee and quiet talks, evenings where we cooked together, music softly playing in the background. Sarah was the kind of person who could light up a room with her smile, but she had this quiet side, too thoughtful, sometimes distant. I never minded. I liked that depth. I thought it made her more real, more interesting. Our apartment was small but cozy. Every corner held memories. The chipped paint from when I accidentally bumped into the wall during a crazy dance attempt, the faded picture frames from our trip to the beach last year, the spot on the couch where Sarah always curled up with a book. We had plans, big ones. We talked about traveling the world someday, starting a family, building a home filled with laughter and love. This trip was supposed to be our first big getaway and years a chance to escape work stress, bills, and everything that had quietly piled up between us. I'd spent weeks organizing it, saving up for the perfect hotel, finding little hidden gems in the city we were visiting. Sarah and I worked different jobs. She was a graphic designer, passionate and creative, often staying up late to meet deadlines. I was in marketing, working long hours, but always made sure weekends were for us. We'd balance each other out in a way that felt natural. We had our share of arguments, of course. Nothing big, just the usual disagreements about money, chores, or who forgot to take out the trash. But nothing ever felt like it would tear us apart. I remember the last few weeks before the trip she seemed tired, a little distracted, but I brushed it off. Told myself she was just stressed with work. We'd talk every night before bed, laughing over silly things, sharing our day. But beneath it all, I started noticing the little things. The way she'd sometimes check her phone and quickly put it away. The vague answers when I asked about her day. The subtle changes in how she looked at me. Still, I held on to hope. Maybe it was nothing. Maybe it was just a rough patch. She was my Sarah woman who promised forever. But sometimes, forever is just a word people say when they don't know what else to say. The day everything changed started like any other. Sarah said she had to work late. I told her not to stress, that I'd have dinner ready when she got home. I believed her because I wanted to believe her. But that evening, I noticed her phone buzzing more than usual. She'd glance at it quickly, then slide it under the couch cushion or hide it in her bag. Something didn't sit right. I tried not to let the suspicion grow. I told myself it was just stress from work, or maybe a surprise she was planning for her trip. But the knot in my stomach tightened with every passing minute. Later that night, I was in the living room, scrolling through my phone, when I heard Eat Her message notification. A familiar chime, but from her phone, left carelessly on the kitchen counter. Curiosity and dread battled inside me. I fought the urge to check it, but the silence in the apartment was louder than any warning. I picked up her phone. My hands trembled as I unlocked it, heart hammering like a drum in my chest. There, it was a message from him. Her ex. The screen showed a few words, just enough to freeze time. "Can we meet? I need to talk." I dropped the phone, and it hit the counter with a hollow sound that echoed inside me. The room spun. I tried to steady my breath, but panic clawed at my throat. Why now? Why behind my back? I didn't confront her that night. Instead, I stayed awake, replaying every conversation, every look, every lie I thought I hadn't seen. The next day, I tried to act normal. Pretended everything was fine while my mind raced with questions. That evening, I made a choice. I followed her. She met him at a small cafe downtown. I stood across the street, heart pounding so loud I feared she might hear it. They talked quietly at first, leaning in close. I saw her smile, something I hadn't seen in months. That smile wasn't meant for me. Then he reached out, touched her hand. Her eyes flicked to mine for just a second, a flash of something I couldn't place. I turned away before I could brake. Back in the car, I gripped the steering wheel so hard my knuckles whitened. The woman I loved was slipping through my fingers into the arms of the man I thought was long gone. I wanted to scream, to run after her. But all I did was drive, the city lights blurring past like a nightmare I couldn't wake from. That night, the silence between us was deafening. I asked her directly if she'd canceled the trip. She lied. Said it was work, that she was sorry. But I wasn't fooled. I knew the truth, even if she refused to say it. She chose him. And I didn't know how much longer I could pretend otherwise. I couldn't stop replaying that moment, the way Sarah's smile lit up the cafe table, the way his hand brushed hers like it was the most natural thing in the world. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw them together. Laughing, talking, sharing something I wasn't meant to be part of. I kept telling myself to breathe, to hold on to the hope that maybe it was just a mistake, a harmless meeting. But the pit in my stomach told me otherwise. I stared at my phone over and over, rereading the message from her. "Ex, can we meet? I need to talk." Why now? Why after all these years? I wanted answers. I wanted to scream at her, to shake her until she told me the truth. But part of me was terrified. Terrified of what the truth would mean. Was our marriage really over? Had I been blind all this time? That night, I tried to talk to her. I asked how she was feeling, if something was wrong. She smiled and said she was just stressed with work. But her eyes betrayed her, distant, guarded. I wanted to believe her. I wanted so badly to reach across that invisible wall she was building around herself. But every time I tried, she pulled away. I found myself watching her more closely, how she picked up her phone, how she avoided my gaze, how she whispered when she thought I wasn't listening. I hated the paranoia creeping in, but I couldn't stop it. I remembered the nights when we used to talk for hours, planning our future. The dreams we shared, the promises we made. Was it all a lie? My mind was a storm of emotions, anger, sadness, confusion, hope. I wanted to believe she still loved me. That maybe this was just a rough patch we could fix. But deep down, darker truth gnawed at me, the possibility that she never truly loved me at all. One night, I caught her on the phone. Her voice was low, hurried, filled with a tension I hadn't heard before. I wasn't meant to listen, but the words slipped through the crack in the door. "I can't do this anymore. It's too complicated." I clenched my fists, the walls closing in around me. I asked myself over and over, how did it come to this? I thought we had something real, something worth fighting for. But maybe I was fighting alone. Every time I looked at her, I saw the woman I loved and a stranger all at once. I kept hoping she would break down, confess, explain. But instead, she stayed silent, cold, distant, unreachable. I felt myself slipping into a dark place where hope and despair collided. Was I just a chapter in her past waiting to be closed? Or was there still a chance to save what we had? I didn't know. All I knew was the aching emptiness growing inside me, like losing a part of myself I never knew I couldn't live without. And every night, I lay awake, wondering if the woman beside me was still the same person I fell in love with or someone I had already lost. I thought I knew everything: the late meetings, the secret texts, the hidden glances. I thought I'd seen the worst. But I was wrong. The day after I followed her to that cafe, I couldn't stop thinking about what I'd seen. That smile she gave him, the touch of her hand. It wasn't just a casual meeting. It was something more. I needed to know the truth, no matter how much it would hurt. So I waited. Watched. Listened. That evening she told me she was going out with some friends. I didn't question it. I wanted to believe she was trying, that maybe this was her way of finding space to figure things out. But when she left, I did something I never thought I would. I checked her phone again. This time, I found messages I wasn't ready for. Not just from him, but from someone else. Someone new. Her messages were filled with laughter, plans, and even promises. Promises I never heard. A name kept popping up: David. I didn't know who David was, but the way she talked about him made my stomach twist. It was then I realized I wasn't just fighting against the past, I was fighting against a present I never saw coming. I confronted her that night. "Who is David?" I demanded, voice shaking. She froze, eyes wide but quickly masked with calm. "He's just a friend," she said softly. But I saw the hesitation. The lie. She admitted she met David a few weeks ago, said it was innocent at first, that he made her feel alive again. That was the moment my world shattered. Not because she was moving on, because she was hiding it. The woman I trusted, the one I thought was mine, had been living a double life right under my nose. I felt like I'd been punched in the gut. I wanted to scream, to break things, to run away and never look back. But instead I sat there, numb. For the first time, I saw the cracks in our perfect picture were deeper than I imagined. Sarah wasn't just torn between two men, she was torn between two lives. And I was on the outside, watching everything I loved slip through my fingers. The air in the room felt thick, heavy with words unsaid and promises broken. She looked at me, eyes filled with guilt, and something else I couldn't place: fear. I realized then that this wasn't just about love or betrayal anymore. It was about survival. Survival of a love that might never come back. The night I finally confronted Sarah, the air in the room was thick with tension, like a storm ready to break. She sat on the edge of the couch, hands clenched tight in her lap, eyes darting around like she was searching for a way out. I took a deep breath, trying to steady the storm raging inside me. "Why didn't she tell me about David?" I asked, voice low but shaking with anger and hurt. She looked up, tears welling in her eyes. "I wanted to. I was afraid." "Afraid of what?" I snapped. "Afraid of losing me?" Her silence screamed the truth. "I thought we were supposed to be honest with each other," I said, voice cracking. "But you hid this from me. You canceled our trip for him and didn't even have the courage to tell me." She swallowed hard, tears spilling down her cheeks. "I didn't know how to say it. I didn't want to hurt you." "But you already did," I said, voice breaking. "Every lie, every secret, it's all a wound I'm still bleeding from." She reached out, trembling, but I pulled back. "No," I whispered. "This isn't about forgiveness anymore. It's about truth." For a moment, we just sat there, two broken souls tangled in a web of love and betrayal. Then she looked me in the eyes, full of guilt and fear. "I still love you," she said, voice barely above a whisper. "But I'm so lost. I don't know who I am anymore." That confession hit me like a punch to the chest. I wanted to believe her, to hold on to the love we once had. But the truth was, clear things had changed. Forever. I stood up, my heart pounding in my chest. "I don't know if we can fix this," I said. "But I need to know, are you willing to fight for us? Or have you already given up?" Her eyes searched mine, desperate for an answer she feared. "I want to try," she whispered. But in that moment, I realized trying might not be enough. Love alone couldn't mend what was broken. Not when trust was shattered. Not when the past was still pulling us apart. I closed my eyes, taking in a shaky breath. Then prove it, I said quietly. Prove that I'm not just someone you're leaving behind. She nodded, tears streaming down her face. And as the night swallowed us whole, I knew this was just the beginning of a battle for our love, our future, and the chance to heal or say goodbye. Days turned into weeks, but the silence between us was deafening. Sarah and I lived under the same roof, yet it felt like we were strangers sharing a space. I wanted to reach out, to bridge the growing chasm, but the weight of betrayal was a wall too high to climb. Some nights, I caught her staring at me with eyes full of regret, as if begging for forgiveness she wasn't sure she deserved. And I was trapped between love and anger, hope and heartbreak. One evening, I found myself sitting alone on the balcony, the city lights flickering like distant stars. I thought about everything, the promises, the lies, the moments we lost. Was love really enough to survive this? I realized then that love wasn't just about holding on. Sometimes, it was about knowing when to let go. I walked inside, and Sarah was waiting, her face pale, eyes red from crying. "I've made mistakes," she said softly. "But I want to really try this time." Her words touched something deep inside me, but my heart was cautious now. "I need time," I said honestly. "Time to heal. Time to understand if we can be more than what we've become." She nodded, tears slipping down her cheeks again. In that moment, I knew the road ahead wouldn't be easy. Trust, once broken, wasn't something you could fix overnight. It was a fragile thread that needed careful weaving. Weeks passed. We talked more, shared more, fought less. Sarah opened up about her fears, her loneliness, and the emptiness she felt that led her astray. I shared my pain, my doubts, and the fear of losing her forever. Slowly, the ice began to thaw. But deep inside, I knew scars would remain reminders of a battle fought, not always won. One afternoon, as we sat watching the sunset, she reached for my hand. "I don't know what the future holds," she said quietly. "Neither do I replied. "But I want to find out with you." For the first time in months, I believed in us again. Maybe love was messy, complicated, and painful. But it was also worth fighting for. And as the sun dipped below the horizon, I realized that sometimes the hardest battles teach us the most about who we are and who we want to be. Whatever comes next, I know this isn't the end. It's a new beginning.